live because I noticed that the sound suddenly went off, of which I actually got to find out that the sound was actually off. I'm sorry about the breakdown of the live podcast. All right, what we are actually talking about, guys, is the cost, the damage caused. Or the topic of what we are treating is the human cost and endless pain war brings. The human cost and the endless pain that war brings. Judging the situation of today's world, there is a high tension, a huge tension of things that is, you know, so so trajectory that everyone is just at his own peak looking or trying to see what will be the face of the next event. The whole world is just so filled with a lot of things that we that is not benefiting or making any interest in the life of every other person. So this is why we really want to have this discussion, because it's going to be an interaction and discussion. Today's live podcast is going to be an introductory discussion. The endless, the cost of humanity, the cost of humanity. There is cost of human that is being slaughtered and destroyed endlessly without a real consideration. Because a lot of things is actually happening to this world that is really so fearful. It's really terrifying. If I'm, you know, the tragic things about today's world is when you turn to any news, you are going to hear if it's not going to be the war between Russia and Ukraine, it's going to be the war between the what is it called, the Middle East. If it's not the Middle East, it's going to be America versus the other nations. There is this tension, nation against nation, state against state, to the point of individual against individual, city against cities. But the question is, how or when will this world end? When will the world call it peaceful state that everyone are just living freely? When are we going to come to that state whereby we all live without constant fear? We are feeling for humanity, like every one of us begin to live in peace and joy. When will that time actually come? When there is this endless pain, endless issues that is plaguing the world. And the most painful part of it is the focus is not really being shifted in the right directions. There is just a contention. There is just this constant contention against one another. There is just this opposition, endless opposition, pain upon pain, tragic issue coming out day in and day out. We are just in the second month of the year. Already there is tension, high tension of things that might unfold. High intention of things that is going to bring destruction to humanity. But is this really why we are here? Is this really why every one of us who lives on this earth planet, is this what we are here for? When we live in contention endlessly, when there is actually that real consideration that have to be, if I am a human, I should be concerned about your welfare. Considering what is going on today, it's really so terrifying that it breaks my heart when I turn on the news to see what is going on to this world, how people or each and every individual are not really concerned about the welfare of his own nation, or if it's not the government against his own people, is going to be the people in power who are in charge, who are supposed to be conscious about the well-being of his own nations. These are the same people who are contending, who are really fighting. Hi, hello guys. Yeah, today we are making a live podcast to really address this issue that is plaguing the nation of the world. Hi, ciao ragazzi, io penso che oggi podcast dobbiamo fare qualche inglese, anche qualche italiano, perché quella prima volta abbiamo fatto inglese, però oggi vogliamo dire qualche parola in inglese per capire il modo di ora, ma perché ci stanno tanti guai, ci stanno sempre una cosa che non si può aiutare nulla. This is exactly what we are saying. In today's world, why are there so many tragic events happening? Why are there so many things? Ciao ragazzi, Luca Pellegrini, ciao ragazzi. Io devo dire che ma non so se mi senti in inglese o sempre in italiano, perché voglio dire qualche parola che possiamo vogliamo essere insieme per, dire per avere questa discussione, perché il mondo di ora non va bene. Per me, io voglio dire che il mondo di adesso non mi piace mai, non mi piace, perché ogni volta se io ho visto qualche cosa che sta succedendo, come gente si morire senza nulla, perché ci sono qualche guaiato che si fa, per questa, da mio cuore, io, io sto soffrendo per vedere qualcosa così. I want to say I'm really suffering for seeing this thing happening, because it breaks my heart to see the world standing on a barefoot on the verge of tragic event, seeing individuals who are suffering, and the government are not really concerned. This is where it's really breaking my heart. This is where it's really so painful to see that the government, who are supposed to be concerned about the welfare of the nation, what they are concerned about is having more admonition, creating the bomb that is going to bring destruction to its own citizen. Most of them call it is for protection. The military have to have such admonition to protect its own citizen. But actually, are these the main focus? Are these the most things that are really going to interest or bring benefit to the citizen of each nation? Actually, no, because there are things that matters, that people, let me see, things that are really considered, that is considered to be the main reason what every government should be focusing their attention on: the welfare of its own citizen, the well-being of its own citizen, the well-behaved of its own citizen. This should be the most priority, the number one priority of every nations. What's your name? Ciao ragazzi, io sono Matteo. Il mio nome è Matteo. Io sono Matteo. Io direi che ciao. Yeah, David sound none. All right, see. Thank you. Yeah, I really decided, I went back to re-put the sound again. I thought it's because of the call that comes in. That was what obstructed the sound. All right, guys. In today's discussion on this live podcast, I really want us to have this discussion. We are really going to make the discussion to bring sensitivity, to sensitize our mind in regard of the face of humanity, the things that we are facing in today's world. It's really heartbreaking. It's really terrifying. The way people, the cost for human. I want to add this, because do you know what it takes to be a human? Just for instance, just the way I am now, and something just happened to me, and I am no more. But there are things which I projected within my mind that I want to do, to project, to assist others, or to bring a happiness to others. See, io sono a Napoli, vivo a Napoli, Ciao ragazzi. Ciao. Sì, e questo sto dicendo. Direi che how life is meant to be is, whenever things are not in the right form, it should be consigning. Yeah, it should bring an awareness to us to know that this thing is not meant to be. The cost of human is so huge that even a single individual, if someone died, if someone who is not supposed to, to just die just like that, it should be consigning. Why should it be this way? Why should someone just lost his life for no reason? But here we are today. There will be a story of 40 persons die at once. But on what? What is the cost of those deaths? It's not natural things. These are what the government of any nation orchestrated by their own self. A government of a nation will be taking pleasure in killing its own citizen, not being concerned about the welfare of its own citizen. This is alarming. This is heartbreaking, that a lot of people are not really concerned. A lot of people are not really concerned. A lot of people are not really concerned about the welfare of people. Are not really concerned about, like guys, io sto bene. Io dire che io sto bene. Ho fatto così perché io dire che in modo di ora nessuno pensarci per altri. Sì, per questo ammetto questa cosa. Questa non è vera che io sono così. No, io dire che come il mio cuore ho pensato che la vita che viviamo non deve essere così. La vita che viviamo non deve essere così. Però ora tu puoi vedere qualcuno che stanno così, che stanno sporchi, che non c'hai soldi per comprare qualche cosa per mangiare. Però nessuno ha pensato nulla. Ognuno dice che il mio soldi sempre, il mio lavoro sempre, il mio vita sempre, anche la politica É custano. Ci sono tanti agende che sta in politico che non pensarono mai per altri, che non pensarono per la gente che stanno fuori, la gente che stanno soffrendo. Stanno tante persone così. Però per andiamo avanti, ma che possiamo fare? No, la vita non deve essere così. Non deve essere così. Perché vedi in questa vita, ma che ci sono? Se vogliamo dire la verità, per pensare che, ma perché viviamo? È per non mangiare, siediti, dormire, veglia, vai fuori, ritorna. È sempre stessa cosa ogni giorno. Sì, è stessa cosa. Ragazzi, e questo voglio dire che dobbiamo avere un cuore per l'umanità. Sì, dobbiamo prendere un cuore per l'umanità perché siamo qui per questo momento. Se ora tu non puoi fare qualcosa più meglio per vedere ma come da te a gente si felicita perché tu hai fatto qualcosa più meglio della quella persona. Se tu non puoi, non si fa nulla per la gente per essere felicita, però tu vivi per solo te. Non devi essere così. Non devi essere così. E questo sto dicendo che il modo di ora è troppo pericoloso perché se no io sto con il mio telefonino da mattina fino a sera, io non sto parlando con nulla, io sto sempre in telefonino, io non posso dire buongiorno per nessuno, io sto sempre con il mio telefonino da lunedì fino a sabato. Però era prima non sono così, la prima non sono così, però io non voglio dire che il telefonino non va bene, però ci sta qualche cosa che abbiamo aggiungere in detto vita che non stanno meglio. This is what I'm saying because life today has really gone beyond what you can comprehend. The system of this today's world is really alarming. All right, let me see what the message is all about. There are some people that are making use of resource control to make themselves powerful. Yeah, which is certain. And this is actually true. There is a lot of things that is going on today, which is the wickedness of people's mind. The heart of men is desperately wicked. They are not actually concerned about the welfare of their fellow human being. They are not concerned about what will it take for me to do what will make others happy. What actually will it take for me to make the least contribution that will actually encourage the well-being of others. This is actually what it is. Yes, this is true. This is certainly true because everybody just wants to have the resources to control others. But the question is, if you are actually in power, you are in control of other people's, and others are suffering because of you. And for that reason, it really does not change your motives, your mindset, your brain, your thought is always you want to, at the end of the day, what does it really profit you? What does really profit? If such a mindset is in most people, because that is actually how it is today. In today's world, we have numerous people who are actually not concerned about others. What they want is to be in position in order to oppress others, in order to control the life and the welfare of others. But at the end of the day, how does it profit you? In what way does it add to you personally? In what way does it enhance the well-being or your mental stability, your mental, should I call it overall life? How has this thing actually contributed to you physically? It profits you nothing to see others suffering because of your negligence. Others are suffering because of your, should I call it a I don't actually know because most time I do think, see, guys, I want to make this statement. Most of the time, this is my thought. That is it really possible that each and every human that lives on earth have the same mind or have the same minds, like the same mind is the same mindset that operates in every human being? I do ask this question in regular basis because I see no reason why you take pleasure in the pain of others. I see no reason why you took pleasure in the suffering of others. I see no reason why you enjoy the suffering of others. I actually see no reason. Of a truth, I do not really see any reason why you should enjoy while others suffer. Why you should be in harmony while others could not feed just to have 3 square meals a day. And if you happen to be in position to see what you could do to assist those people, you rather closed your mind, you rather locked up your mind and feel unconcerned. My question is, do all human have the same mind, or is it the same mind that is being operated in every human being that lives on today's earth? And I always say to my answer is going to be no, not the same mind. But how do we human come to this state? How do we find ourselves in this category of different form of human being that is existing in today's world? People who are not really concerned. Let's talk about the first time, because the moment of war always brings tragedy. The first war that occurs, everyone can go back to history to know the war that happens to people in World War II. Everyone have different memories, accumulating and experience perception differently. Yeah, certainly. I get the point. Everyone have different perspectives, but that does not take the part of you having the same feeling regarding the suffering of others. Because the way you could be able, you can be able to attest to the pain of the feelings of others is to try. Not that maybe you can be in that position, but just try. It's possible. Assume that you are the person in that kind of position. How will you feel? Imagine you happen to be in a state of someone who could not eat, in a state of someone who could not feed or provide his community. Not that that could be your position or that could be your experience. No, just kind of you are trying to shift your awareness to know what the person that is in that state is experiencing. You are just trying to bridge the line between, taking yourself in that personal position to be able to, imagine what that person could be feeling at that moment. That is what I believe. If every human being on earth today could actually feel this same way for their fellow human being, it is possible to have a rethink or have different, perception towards others that are suffering or others that are living in some certain condition. Because of a truth, if you see someone who is in need, it could be the person negligence is what transpire to that state or that condition the person is being facing at that moment. But it could be that life happened. Of course, life could happen to someone, you know certainly life could happen to someone, not because of the wrong which they did, or not because they are not really doing what they are meant to do, but because of the way life have positioned itself or have flown to those people. They could not actually face it with the strength that is required to avert those situations. So, if for this reason, that is why you must begin to think that everyone that you see in certain situation, you must not run to conclusion by judging the people to say this person is facing this issue because of the wrong that they have done. If you cannot eat, this is what caused them to learn to hurt. If anything is perfect, isn't there no drive anymore? All right, yeah, I understand. The Should I call it the policy by which the world is based on is like everyone need to strive. There have to be the scarcity of things for everyone that lives on earth to be able to find a way. They need to strive for it, and for the activities to be regular, to be consistent. They have to be the scarce of many things, but it shouldn't be the scarce of doing good thing. I know that there should be scarce of some certain things so that there will be a steady motion. There should be a steady activities in order to always have that consistent routines that will bring that activity stabilize. I get the point that if everything is perfect, there isn't going to be the strive that every one of us are going to begin to strive for. But making the environment conducive for everyone to strive is the best way to do it. I know that there isn't going to be a possibility for everyone to have the same mindset, to think right, to really want to assess things in the right form. I get to the point that not everyone will have the right thinking to approach issue in the right way, to approach situation in the right way. Not everyone. But for us who we actually want to think of how to position things in the right form, yeah, certainly. All right, guys, I really want to appreciate M3V20D1Z. I really want to say thank you a lot for the contribution that you begin since this live podcast. You are really, stay tuned from the first podcast down to the second podcast. I really appreciate it because you are also the one that got my attention to the sound, that the sound isn't out, because I wouldn't know if the sound is out or not. Thank you. I really want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your subscription, and also thank you for your contributions. It really means a lot. Why are we here today? Is really for the purpose of humanity. See, guys, I really don't know how to express. Sometimes I do see if it's possible to bring my mind out, to really bring my, if I know it's something is possible. I'm just saying rhetorically, if it's going to be something possible to bring my heart out, to see how it is deep inside, I think I would have loved to do it, so that we can be able to see how we can affect our environment. In what way can we really, contribute positively to see some changes being made, to see, anyone that is being in some harsh condition, see the need to have a rethink on how he vision life, on the approach, on the way he look at life. Because I know that sometimes situation could make someone perspective change. Certainly, just as the comment have said, situation could make someone perception or thinking, the right orderly thinking form, could be shifted because of the condition that the person is experiencing here. Because not everyone who have the opportunity to live in each locations could have the right or the same mindset or the same thinking. But there is that which can never change. As long as you are a human, there is this mindset that must be in you, that every other person you see around your space or far or beyond is a human like you. This can never change. All right. This mindset shouldn't be a thing that change from every human being that lives on earth. No matter how colorful the person is, or no matter how downgraded the situation of the person could be, every human on earth, both close in far distance, in close distance, they are a human being like you. And despite the fact of their perspective, their perception, their thinking, their mindset, their behaviors, whatever it could be, they are just a human being like you. And for that reason, then we can begin to want to think, to want to see how to discuss about perception now, on how they think, how they behave, on the things they know. If it's truthful, if it's wrong, if it's accurate, if it's biased, if it's chaos, then we will not begin to see how to address this issue. But for where it all starts from, it starts from humanity. You must begin to know that though the person is not having the same mindset with me, it's a human being like me, is another form of human, just the way I am. And for this reason, this will shift your mind away from whatever that is, inconsistent, that is going to be an endangerment to such a person. You will refrain from it, right? Yeah. So that is where the right thinking started from. To have the same thinking, just as every other persons are to have, first it begins from humanity, knowing that everyone that lives on earth today are human. No one is ape, no one is chimpanzee, no one is a monkey, or you know this is where the whole problem is. Because every human, most people that live on earth does not really see every other person as the same, or they don't think that those people, they are also human being like them. A lot of people have this thinking, should I call it a corruptive mindset, seeing other people to be like an animals, in terms of the language they use, in terms of the reaction they give to those people. This kind of mindset, where does it come from? It's not because they were taught. It's not because maybe they had it in school. It's the lesson that comes from the classroom, or the teacher that imparts such a wrongful thought in them. In some cases, it could be, but not every case could be the same. Why is it this way? Because every human being that lives on earth today, we already have this corruption within us. We already have this wrong part. If it's not going to be generally a wrong perception about lives, it's going to be maybe a little perception wrong. Should I use the word the wrong little perception about life? We already have it within us. We came with it. That is why, even if a child is little, though he have not yet been exposed to how to do things that is wrong or awful, that child can actually inflict something bad. So your question should be, how could this child know how to inflict something bad? It's not because he was taught, or he have already gone to school and he's being imparted by the parents or whatsoever. No, because the nature of every one of us, our natures have this both bad and the ugly side. But the thing is, we have to begin to bridge ourselves. Hi, hello, Diane Amanti. Hi, ciao, ciao ragazzi. Ma non so se questa in inglese o italiano. See, I'm doing fine, and you? I hope you are doing fine too. Are you? Please, guys, you can always leave a comment and like, so that YouTube can also recommend this video to others. Please like and subscribe, and turn on the notification whenever we are live. This channel is based on humanity. All what I try to do on regular basis. What is your stream update? Okay, is the pain, the human cost and endless pain that war brings. The human cost and endless pain that war brings. Because in today's world, there is a whole lot of tragic events happening. A lot of things that are harmful to every human, that have bring us to the point whereby we have to begin to address this issue. Because sooner or later, there's going to be a lot of chaos in the world. If we are not really, doing anything about this, there's going to be a chaos, a huge lot of chaos happening in every look and corner. Because if every one of us are going to just sit ourselves down and fold our hands in terms of, do you have a PC? Yeah, I do have a PC. Diana, I do have a PC. I have a PC. The PC is right here with me. I'm streaming both on the phone and watching the analyst on the PC. If there be any question, because it's like I always want to come on this live podcast, is if you have any questions or anything that you want to contribute to the reason why you think that the world is really in a mess, and what do you think that we can begin to do? What do you think that we really have to start doing in order to make an effort? Because we all have contribution to make. We all have contribution to make, right? All right. And Diana Manti, I really want to say thank you for your comment, but is you asked me a question if I have a PC, of which I say yes, I do. And I don't know if you have the question you are asking. If you can be more clear about your question so that I can give you the response, I can give you a response back, because it's an interactive podcast. Really want to see how we can interact with one another in order to see how our thoughts could also impact in the life of others. All right, we can actually make a significant impact in the world that we are living today. Because if you are just existing, if you are just living without making an impact, it's like existing. You are not making any impactful things. It's not coming from you to other people. And for this reason, that is the reason why every one of us have to start making, even it's going to be a little contribution to other people's, in order to impact in the world. I have to go by. I hope you have a nice day. You too, Diana. I will always want to say thank you for all your contributions. Sorry, I think, yeah, Diane Amanti. All right, Diane Amanti, I'm really happy to see you drop by, and I would want to say thank you for your contributions in terms of your like and comments. And I will always be here on live podcast to review some of the things that is ongoing. Like I said, I'm a social blogger, someone who like to create an awareness and see what I can do to impact positively in the life of others, in whichever way I can contribute to anyone's life positively. I am in for the good, not for the wrong. No, I want to see how I can make a little impact. Anything I can do to contribute to other people, that would be what I am fond of doing. The best things about a human is we are capable to act consciously. Unlike animals, yeah, that's true. Unlike animal, where they are acting on impulse, many humans are still acting on impulse. It's an issue. Certainly, it's an issue. Certainly, it's an issue. But the question is, if we happen to live among humans who does not have this rightful thoughts, in order to have the right mindset or the right connections to act in the right directions, what then are we going to do? In what way are we going to begin to see that we who knows what is right to do what we ought to do in order to impart in them? How or what should we do in order to change that perspective, in order to bring them to the same table which we are? Sometimes there is a question that a friend of mine posed to me, and that I also want to say from the man. I wish I would have know your name, M3WTO, because I really want to, extend and this podcast. Maybe sometimes we want to have you on the podcast too. I could share, we could share the screen together. Then we have these interactions to also impart in the audience, because I feel that yes, you actually have a great contribution to make to the general public. And for this reason, if you can, if it's possible, I don't know if it's possible for you to create a little space of opportunity for us to have this podcast together, then we could have the screen together and make some contributions, and shares our views to the general public and to the audience. So if that would be okay by you, M3WT, so please leave the comment on the on the comment section, so that I will respond to you, and then give you the details on how we can make this live podcast maybe before this weekend, and come out to give our thoughts to the general public, because you actually have a lot to do in terms of the impact you could be to the general public. There is a lot, and it shouldn't be a thing that we all sit down or sit off by not doing anything. Because look at the state the world is today. The government, starting from the government down to the individuals, we see that yes, everyone who acquires power is basically for his own personal interest, and only but few have this mindset to really want to see what they could do with their position to make a difference in the life of his own citizens or in the life of others people. Right? Yeah, only few have this mindset. But the few who have this mindset, or the few who are actually working on the right call, are not doing enough. There is a lot of people who have just sit back without doing anything. They just say, well, there's nothing I could do to change the state that the world is. If everyone who lives on the earth folds their hands and restrain themselves from doing the right thing, the world will only grow worse. That will eventually be the case. The world will surely grow worse. All right, M3VT and zero. All right, we will certainly have this podcast together, like I have already said in the comment. I already commented. We'll have the live podcast. Please, if you can go to the main YouTube session and leave a comment, because this live podcast, whenever I end a live podcast, I cannot be able to go back to the message again, this chat, because this is actually a live chat. It's impossible for me to revisit all the messages and come back and bring out the information, the useful information that I needed. And for this reason, if you can just go straight to the channel dashboard and leave a comment, the comment of your handle, maybe your YouTube email handle, then leave the comments over there. Then when I finish this live podcast, I can able to go back to the channel again, and then we copy the information that you placed there, and we'll make use of it. I think I'll message it on the email, so we can make the live podcast happen. So we'll finish all the conversation over there. All right, guys, what are we trying to do in this channel is whatever we can do to make contribution to the world. Whichever way you can make a significant effort, even if it's just a little. Nothing is too tiny, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. Whatever you could do to see that the world that we are living today could begin to reshape in the right directions, that is all what we need to start focusing our attention on. All right, that is exactly what we have to do, because there is need to begin to want to shift things. Let's begin to view life in the right. I don't know, I want to make this comment. I myself, I used to think something of this nature. I don't think that I belongs to this generation. I don't know, maybe it might be a white thought. I don't used to have that thought that I belong to this generation, because everything about me often feels old. Sorry to say. Yeah, everything about me often feels old. Why do I use that word? Like, I love the old things, the old system. When everything is on a normal state, where every one of us, the connections between one another is real. We are really in to see the benefit of each and every one. When there was trade by barter, you give me whatsoever you have in purchase of that which I has. When that mindset is actually what I had. That is why when you come to know the person of my nature, then you know that I don't fashion anything that is form of should I use the word artificial, anything that is fake. Is it irritates me a lot when I see fake activities going on, because I just want this to be genuine, genuinely. Because the best way you can really live is try to be genuine. All right, this is the mindset I always kind of want to find myself in. Unlike, I don't think I belong to this generation at all, because the system that the world is operating on, it really do not suit my inner spirit. It really do not suit my inner spirit at all. And for this reason, my mindset, my thought is, if there's a way the old system can be revisited again, if there's a way we could go back, I know which is going to be impossible. If there is going to be any way we can go back and relive the life the way it ought to be in the first century, in the second century, in the third century, how things were back then, it was more better. When everyone is really much concerned about one another, when we are all living like brothers and sisters, when this outrageous strife have not yet eaten deep into the mind of many, when everyone is not just more concerned about what will benefit me, how I can control others, put other in pain, why I live in harmony. The mindset, it is really alarming, because look at everything that is playing out today in this world. You can really say that this is not how it's meant to be. But if things are the way it is now, I'm not saying that let's shift the old system down to this new world. No, is the characters, the mindset back then. I prefer such mindset than the mindset of the people of today. That is exactly what I'm saying, because I'm not trying to say let's bring a system of those old early days to this system, because it's not going to assess the system of what we have now. But if we can really want to, bring the system of genuineness into the system of today, it really help a lot. If we can actually want to really look at what we can do, if we really want to say, okay, this is a way that the world, because if you want to try to want to think, how can we really position the earth in the right form. Okay. All right. M3 and WT on. All right. I'll send a message to you I'll reply to the message, to the comments, and give you the details. Maybe through there we can be able to have the interactions on how to make the live podcast. Then we'll begin from there, because we are here for one another, right, guys? We are really here for each other. I don't know, whatever I can do, whatever you can do, whatever every one of us could do, bringing our mind together to see we push this movement to create the awareness that will begin to reverse the mindset of a lot of people who are now thinking that they could control others in order to gain their interest, or to gain the world. They could suffocate the life of others for their own personal interest. If there's any way we could really begin to reshape our mindset in these directions, it can really help to put the world in the right perspective. It can really help a lot, because if we want to sit ourselves down, seeing what is going on in today's world is heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. Acquisition of ammunitions, all for what? Defense. But what are we actually defending ourselves against? The question is, what are we defending ourselves against? Radical Islam, should I call it radical Islamic religion? Yeah, I get it. There are so many ideology of some system who think that they are the only one who have the right to live. This is another problem that the world is facing. But the question is it by acquiring more ammunition that would deter these people from what they propose in their mind? Is it by having more destructive weapons, which could eventually bring destruction to, which will eventually turns to man destruction in tomorrow's settings? If you want to take your mind back to what happened in World War II, when America dropped an atomic bomb in Japan, how many innocent people died? That wasn't a situation of Islamic religious system. I understand that there is a move of this people of this Islamization, should I call it Islamic extremism. I understand, but what I'm saying is having more equipment or having more ammunitions, building more nuclear warhead isn't going to make the world a right or bring the world to the right stand. Isn't going to be, this is not actually what we need, because the problem is the mind of human is the main issue. Our mind is the major cause of all the chaos that we are facing to this world. Because if the mind of anyone, if the mind of an individual isn't in the right position, such an individual, no matter what the person has, he will always want to use such resources to bring the destruction of his fellow. But the thing is, creating the mind, recreating the mindset of every corrupt mind is the right way to go. Is imparting the right mindset in people. Because anyone who is corrupt will always be corrupt, irrespective of what state he is or location he is. Corruption has been the thing that have eaten deep into the mind of most every of the nation you see into this world. Corruption is the bigger issue. And where is that corruption coming from? For the mind. The mind is the primary setting of everything. So if we are going to begin to want to see what we can do to impart or to change the mindset of people, is by creating the awareness. Because having the right thinking is the primary setting in order to be able to see the reality of what you intended is coming out. The right thinking. Because when you don't have the right thinking, you might be thinking what you think is right, but at the end of the day, it will not bring the right results. What we are trying to do is, in this channel, let's build a community. Let's build a system that will help to grow the accuracy of human nature. Let's build a community that will help to build the accurate right living of human system. Because in today's system is bridging and is breaking humanity, is destroying humanity. There is already a policy that has been since World War II, which is not sustainable to the kind of life that we want to see. It's not, of a truth. It will not be sustainable of the kind of life we ought to see. A policy that enslaves others for others to be enriched. A policy that puts others in danger just for the benefit of others. A policy that does not want to see its fellow grow to a state whereby it can be independent. Such policy, it will only revoke around violence. It will only revoke around the tendency to bring destruction to others. So now, if we are going to begin to want to think on the right sources or the right resources, the government is not the solution to the problem of the world. Because the government, most of them, they are human beings like you and I. They are human beings like you and I. So anyone or everyone who already is corrupt with a wrong mindset, once he gets to power, he will only frustrate that which he has already deep inside. You can see these things in all the president or the dictatorship that you can see into this world. How whatever they brings to you is not what will benefit the citizen of his own country. Whatever they are bringing is what will suit them. A lot of this government of today, their policy is for personal interest, not for the nation interest. It's not for the nation interest. Not anyone are really in for the development of the growth of his own citizen. If this is actually the case, you will have seen a more growth in individualistic life, in individuals' life. You will have seen that all what they are focused on, and should I call it their main target should have been what is the need, let me see, what are those requirements, what are those things that we need to put in place in order to enhance the life of my citizen. What do I need to do to see the interest of my citizens rising to the top? This should be the main concern. But it's opposite, right? It's opposite. Most governments of today's world are not really concerned about his own citizen. Look at what is going on in Iran. How a dictator could really want to see the destruction of his own citizen and he does not care. A policy that destroys lives, a policy that enslaves life, a policy that is really concerned about his own thinking, his idea, what he feel, what he thinks, what he think could be, how he intends that this thing could be. Such policy are destructives. That is why, because I really say it, this is really painful and heartbreaking. Because when I see someone who lost his life, what I do think, I put myself in that person's shoe. That could be me, right? It's possible that person who have just lost his life could be me, and ironically, that person could also be you, right? So to avert this tragedy, what should we do? What can we do? In what way are we going to affect the general public in order to begin to build our mind? Because if is a president of a nation that is ruling today is doing whatever he feels or whatever he think, but a time will come whereby that president will leave the seat, then there will be need for another president to come in, right? But what if the sensitization that we are doing now, or what we are trying to build, is we are building this awareness that reconstruct the mind of every individual, that brings the right thinkings to every individual, so that whoever goes to the seat to be a leader, whoever goes to any position, his mindset should be for the betterment of his own citizen. His mindset will always be, how can I, enrich the life of my citizen, or what do I need to do to enrich the life of my patriotic citizen. For this reason, this is why this channel is formed. There is social experiment that I do go out to do, which the one I done last week, I'm going to also bring it out to the channel. The social experiment is not just because I want to see someone who give me food, or maybe I'm hungry, I really want to see who can lend me something to eat. I want to really see how many people or how many individuals are in today's world who really have the right mind to feel for his fellow human being. And you could say that whenever I'm there doing this social experiment, out of 60 to 70 people who passes me by, no one will stop to offer me anything to eat. It's really heartbreaking, right? I will be out there dressed, look somehow unkept, standing in unfavorable condition, then waiting to see if there could be anyone that is passing by, a passerby who could think that this person, he really needs an assistant. But the question should be, how much are anyone really going to offer me that is going to be so much big enough that we take, maybe, will I say, if I'm offering you a cent or a dime from 20, it's not much, right? But I would be standing for at least 20 to 50 to 60 minutes. No one will desire to help me out. And let's use that ratio to calculate the ratios of every human being on earth today that cannot really consider the welfare of his own fellow human being. You will see that we actually have a lot to do in today's world. There is a whole lot to do, because humanity has really lost it completely. Humanity have lost it completely. That the selfishness, selfish desire, selfish need is really, really on a high state. All right, I'll read this message. It really wants to leave the seed to generate public. Leave the seed to generate public. The first thing to get them to actually listen. For them to listen itself could be a huge task, certainly, yeah. But I totally understand. Self, should I call it self meditation or self awareness? There is a question I believe I was taught. This same question is what I often ask people, that the way to start life, or the right mindset, if anyone want to begin life, the first thing such a man should do is ask the question of who am I. Is a question that every human being on earth have to ask themselves. Who am I? Why am I here? Or whom? Or for to whom I am I here for? Or let me use the word, Why am I here? Why am I living? To whom am I living for? The question of who am I is a question that every individual on earth today needs to ask themselves. The question of who am I is very, very important, because if actually we really want to, sit ourselves down and have this conversation, we have to really think about what is humanity, what is actually human. The question is, we are not actually here for ourselves alone. There is orientation that we must generate when we try to reflect on what humanity means, or who we are, why are we here, to whom are we here for. It's a question. It might seem a complicated one or unreasonable one, but if you actually want to reflect on this area, then you begin to realize that we are not here for ourselves, and there is actually something that brought us here, right? Something brought us here, and who is that thing that brought us here? That is where the question or the understanding of humanity will come from. When you know that you are not doing something to yourself, or what you are doing is basically not because of your own strength or your power, then that will always want you to reflect on the reason why you are doing what you are doing, right? So for this reason, there is need for every human being to ask themselves this question: who am I and why am I here? The question of who am I is meant for every individuals. But unfortunately, not everyone could ask themselves this question. Not everyone can really bring themselves to question themselves, the motives of existence, the motives of being here on earth. Is a question that should be generally spread to everyone or whoever consider himself a human being. Because by the time you realize that life is not for you, or it's not to you, or it's not by you, then everything you do will be under consideration. Every other thing else you do should be reconsidered. There should be the formula you approach things. Reason, because you are aware of who you are. You are now aware of why you are doing what you are doing. If such a mindset is not there, all right, certainly, yeah, that is true. Yeah, I could answer who I am not, but it's actually going to be a reasonable question to kind of want to answer who you are, right? Yes, of a truth, because I had a friend who kind of gave me this little choking conversation. He said, "I really don't think that I have any, like." There was a word he said to me one time when I said to him that you are here for something, but he said that he really cannot see anything special in him, but there is nothing special about his life. So for this reason, he cannot fathom himself to begin to want to think that there is something special about his own life, or there's something he could do to impart in others. So when he gave me this word, I was really mesmerized by the answer he gave. Why is he giving that answer? Because of the orientation he had, or because of the the mindset, or should I call it a, which right word will I use to describe? Yeah, ignorant. I think that should be the right word. The ignorant of what he think about himself is why he is defining himself that way. The truth is, I can also answer who I am and who I am not. Is is basically a theory that every human being needs to embark on. A lot of people could actually say, uh, I'm not a thief. All right, yes. But if you are not a thief, then who are you? Then you should be able to define who you are by the works that comes out from your hands, right? The thing that you do, how impactful you are in others, not to you. There is a way to really want to generalize this word. Question of who I am is in this form, because I do always want to verify things in a way to try to want to get the real uh, uh, you know the source that could connect to why things are the way they are. This thinking is one of the things that I do most of the time. What is that thinking? I do always see it's not you who who have the right answer to let others know that I am a good person. No, you cannot attest to yourself that I am a good person. I am the most intelligent person. No, let others say so. Let others who have it from you, other who other people who have experienced your space, who have come to your space into your environment, to really, you know, who have gained that access to your own environment. Let them attest to the kind of person that you are. That is where you can collect the data of your personality. Because if you are going to by your own self discover or answer to yourself, this is who I am, you could be making some sense of mistake, because there are some things you will accolade to yourself or you credit to yourself that because of it is you, you are going to mark yourself good. But let others be the one to attest to the kind of person you are, right? Yeah. So for this reason, you could use a mango tree or an orange tree. For example, let's just use that as a case study. A tree cannot attest to itself that I am a sweet mango, I'm a sweet orange. No. It is people who eat from that orange, it is people who eat from that tree or from that mango that attest that this mango is really a sweet mango. That is how human are. That is how we human are. It's other people who have experienced us, not for hypocrisy reason, or not for let's say some people they rather want to create a good name. Just they really want to see other people. They want to see how people could say that this person is a good person. No, some people they are who they are. They don't change. Their joy is to see others happy. Their motives is to be able to impact in the life of others. This is what it does. This is what the only thing that makes them happy. That are human being on earth like that into this world. But there are also another category of people who who want to, you know, who want to collect the data of the applause of men. Just they want to really feel that they are a good person, and not really because they are really actually a kind of a good species, just because they are looking for something as a report card that they could say that this is what people say about me. And but deep inwardly, their mind is corrupt. Their mind is actually corrupt. Is they are only using the actual the outward circumstances to cover for the person of whom they are. This is another category of human being. But there are those who do not actually have that fruitfulness of goodness in them at all. They don't know anything. They have no idea of anything good. All what they do is whatever that can make them happy is what they're going to do, whether being good or bad. There are such people. My grandmom always gave me this word. He said that there are three sets of people, this category of human being on earth. He said there are those who are human, real human. There are those who are goats. There are those who are sheep. Those who are good are those who doesn't care about the effect of what their damage could cause. They don't care about the effect, the damage that their activity, their action is going to cause other people. They don't care. As long as it makes them happy, this is the absolute of what they are interested in. And there are still other sort of people who actually are going to do whatever it takes to gain the public opinion, regardless of the effect. And there are some, whatever it is to put smile in other people's life, they are going to do it. It doesn't mean if it's going to hurt their personality or bring some defect in them. But as long as those things make other people happy, they are interested. This is what drives them. This is what moves them. Their interest is the joy of others, right? The I, the I without an identity is nothing, right? Identification, good, bad, is how general public judgment looks at. Depends on what are comfortable or not. Yeah, but there is a concept of life here that we must take our mind at. We have to direct our attention to the concept of life. Because if we really want to judge humanity, if we really want to consider the face of human, there is more to humanity. There is more. Considering a person is a human, is operating in human nature, there is more to what we can see visibly. The visible part of human is beyond description, is beyond ways. That is where the whole issue is. So most people think that life is all here. Most people they think that all there is all we can see physically, but that is as that is actually not true. It is partially true, but it's not a definite truth. The definite truth is Every human being on earth are both visible and invisible. All human beings are both physical and spiritual. So if you are going to define life, you will not just use the prospect, the prospect of the visibility to describe everything. There's a scale that you have to begin to weigh before you can arrive at a conclusion to kind of give a sentiment or a general analysis to the frame name of human. So that is the reason why judging someone based on what you can see visibly might not be um, completely right, because of there are some other parts in which your visible eye cannot really attest to or cannot really reveal to you. And for this reason, you must be able to calculate the data of what you can see physically, and then use the other curriculum or the other names to be able to draw your conclusion or brings every data to the table and analyze it before you release your judgment. This is the concept that is unaware to people, because sometimes I bring my mind to this area, because the thinking, our focus, we have really shifted our focus to the visible part of life only, and these have limit a lot of things. Just imagine, because everything that we see today, even phone, before phone came into existence, it was already stored within the brain. The brain have already reprocessed whatever you can see here visibly, was already processed by the intellectual mind, have already gone ahead to draw the the actual sense of what the physical will look like, right? This is why we can see the visible part. So this form, if I'm going to describe this form, I might not just conclude in description or in my explanation that is a visible device. It's not just a visible device. This is why I can call someone who is not visible with me, and the person will answer the call. You see, that is the part that a lot of us that are human are missing. That is why who am I? Okay, that is why the who am I has too many layers. It could be depends on where is focused on at the moment, and in the end, I am never any any of it unless I focus on it. All right, yeah, I understand. That is definitely right. It depends on the area, because okay, let's do it this way. Have you ever seen the concept of 10 to 5 people come to give you their own weakness of what they think about a certain things? Like, we have opinions of things. Some people might say, what is your opinion about this phone? There's going to be a different opinion driving to the conclusion or to the description of what this phone is from 10 or 5 different kind of person, right? Yeah, because they're going to have different let me see, different ways to describe what they think or what they know about the phone. All right, the same way, if you are going to think about, but at the end of the day, one is going to be absolute truth. There is something we call absolute truth, but partially truth, but not generally truth. And for this reason, some of the things that are considered to be absolute truth are the thing that you have attached to it. It actually brings the result out. And you can reprogram the same thing over and over again, and it gives you the same absolute concrete result. For that reason, that thing could be considered as absolute. Things that come with an evidence, it proved beyond reasonable that after a retesting and it brings the same result out, such a thing is considered to be an absolute truth. But in some area, in approaching some issue, then you are going to define the thing to really want to understand what are your view or what are your thoughts regarding the phone, and you give your own orientation of what you think or what you feel. But being tested, it cannot really bring the true result of what is expected. That should not be considered as not true. It's partially truth. That is what I'm trying to use as a form of who am I in description. Who am I? The question of who am I, there could be a different variation of discussion that are going to be an opinion. All of these could be true, but not as no truth, right? Because when you are going to really ask in terms of scientific description, they will kind of use the word human being came from ape in their own description. Human being came from ape. We are from the families of ape, but My question that I normally ask, I think no one have ever been able to give me the question, I mean the answer regarding this question. I've asked, ever since the evolution of human from the ape, scientifically speaking, has it ever occurred again? Ever since the first revolution of humanity have happened, has it ever, happens again? And if it hasn't, why? This will give you the conclusion to know that which scientists have given as human evolved from ape is not true. It's not true. You get the point now. Whatever explanations that comes from someone that cannot be revisited over and over again to get the same truth is not true. It's not true, and it cannot be truth. An absolute truth as anything could be anything or whatever the thing could be that can be revisited over and over and over again, and it could give you the same exactly reaction. And if there is no such evidence, such a thing cannot be considered as absolute. It could be partially truth. So this is why the question of who am I must come from a tested fact, a tested fact with a description that could be revisited over and over again and give the same result without being changed. This is the way we can actually describe of the, I mean, give a corresponding answer to the question of who am I. See, you you see the little of which I'm trying to explain this now, because to me I have sit myself down to ask the question of life completely, like, because before you can come to the point of being sympathetic or sympathetic to others, you must be able to view yourself already. Like you have had that sit that sit of discussion within yourself. You have had that deliberation within yourself already before you can begin to see you are being merciful to others or you are being kind to others. You have already evaluated your own life already, right? You have gone to that self-examinations to kind of want to describe your personality, the kind of person you are, and therefore you come to the conclusion that if this is all there is, then why should I not be in this kind of phase doing what I can do to assist others in the little way I could? Because this is actually life, right? This is actually life. So the truth of life must be founded on the basic of this question. The truth of life must be founded on the basic of this question. That question is, who am I? Why am I here? That is another question that a whole lot of people cannot. Out of 100% of people that live onto this world, 100% of every human being that lives on earth, I think we have about 8 billion people that live onto this world. I don't think there could be 1%, or let me say, is 1% could be even much lower. Let's just put it on 3%. Out of from the 8 billions of every individual that lives on earth, equivalent to 100%, 3% cannot could only be the ratio that can give the explanation or the description of why am I here? Why am I here? A lot of individuals in today's world cannot actually give the corresponding answer to why they are living. Because a lot of people tends to be living for themselves. A lot tends to be living for their fathers. A lot tends to be living for whatever thing they believe, whatever thing that originate from their mind. But if you are going to understand the concept of life, then you must go back to the foundation of life. Yeah. Because you cannot tell me that you understand life whereby you cannot really give me the right answer to the foundation of what life is, or by whom do life comes from. If we are going to go by the scientific, which description is every human revolution comes from the revolution of ape, then the question I am going to ask, which any scientific person could give the corresponding answer if they know, is if this is the truth about humanity, why have there not been any involvement ever since the first involvement? Because even till today, we still have the family of apes. for sure. There is still the species of ape in today's world. But why have there not been another evolvement of another kind of human species that come from the family of apes? Why have they not been? If it only happened once, why couldn't it happen again? So which we this will already give us the answers of what we want to know, that theory is a false theory. The theory that states that humanity comes from the families of apes is a false theory. The basic formula to measure life is to begin to understand life is both spiritual and physical. It's not just we are going to determine by using the lens of physicality to describe life, then we are already going to miss a lot of things. Because there are things that you cannot explain, things that seems almost almost impossible to give descriptions to. Those things, they are the spiritual parts, which are more widely spread to religion, but which is not actually religion. It is something that is beyond religion. The concept of life is more beyond religion. That is where we are going to begin to understand some system that governs life that a lot of people cannot really explain. Some system that is the basic formula of life is beyond what physical eye can explain. And these are the parts that makes us all human. But for this reason, there is a whole lot that is beyond what we can explain. There is a lot of system of life that is beyond what we can attest to, what we can describe by whatever reason, by whatever cause. So for this reason, guys, we are going to draw our next topic out, and I'm going to have this live podcast today. I'm going to draw the conclusion of today's live podcast, and I want to say thank you. I don't know, should I say Mr. M3WTO? I think after here we are going to hear from each other more, and then get to understand some system. I don't also know if you can speak Italy, because this channel is also based on both Italian and English. We are going to begin to, but if it's only in English, it's all good. There is no cause for alarm, and if it's only English, is good. Like, I'm giving my salutation to you. I really want to say thank you for turning up for today live podcast. You stay all through the hours for this live podcast, and you are really a number one, not a fan. You are a family. I think that is the word to consider. What you are here for. You are a family, and this is what we are building over here. We are building a family that could really, really stand for the truth. A family that could really impact positively in other people. A family that could really see what they can do to put smiles in other people's life. This is what family does. Family look out for each other's. That is what we are. Every human being on earth today, we are all families. I don't know where the rage comes from. I really cannot explain where the rage, the strife comes from. Where we all become a predator. Every one of us, all of a sudden, we are just like a predator towards one another. We ought to be family, no predator. Thank you once again. Thank you once again. I'm really all right. We are family until I ask you to borrow me $1,000. Yeah, if I have, are we? If I have, certainly are we. You might not really know the kind of person that I am. If I have, I will. The little of which I have, I could split what the little one I have to who does not have. Yeah, I could really split it of a truth. Because if I know that my brother does not have, and it pains me to see the condition the person is, and the little one I have, I could split it to see that the person has a little. What I'm doing here, I would want to say this because there is a lot of opportunity that came to me. Such opportunity, I will have do the things, and I will have a whole lot to help others, a whole lot of fun to assist others. But the question is, what I say to myself is, this thing, if I really want to do these things, it's already I've reached the kind of mindset I believe God is building in me. Because anything that is not right is not right. If you do it just because you want to make things right, you cannot wrong cannot correct right. You cannot use wrong to correct right, right? So simply because I want to assist others does not mean that I have to go extra mile to do what is unnecessary, to bring the help of what I gain from those things to be able to help others out there. No, but the little one which I am doing, the little which I know that is sensible enough and godly approved system that I'm working on. This is the same system that we use to assist other. Because if I am building a mindset that is right, I cannot go and blend into some system which are corrupt. Then using that system to want to build a corresponding system, it doesn't work that way. So that is the reason why I will always say, no matter how little that is with me, if I see who does not have, I'm going to give the little one that I have a way to say, this is the little I can contribute. Though it's not much, but accept it from me. Because why we are here is to build a family. To build a family that will live in happiness. To know that all there is in life is happiness, joy, and peace. There is nothing more to that. Happiness, joy, and peace, which God gives, not the one that the world offer, the one that God gives, happiness, joy, and peace. This is where my mind is for. All right. I just kind of want to explain the little one that the message you write, and we are going to, hear from each other, from outside here. Like I was already saying, thank you for your contribution. It really means a lot. I cannot really explain it with words alone. But like I said, we are here together, and we are here for one another, and all are going to be in the right directions. Thank you. I appreciate you for turning in for today's podcast, and see you for the next podcast, and remain blessed and stay safe. God bless you and remain safe. All right. Thank you and God bless you.